What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to, I guess, my first Lego custom. Today we're going to be working on making a 1 foot tall Lego Spider-Man. I started off, of course, by just printing everything on my FDM printer. I had about 1 week to make this because it was a gift for one of my friends, so I had to hurry up and print everything at the lowest infill, which caused some issues. You can see the neck peg already broke off from the beginning. So what I did to kind of fill in those gaps and save myself from sanding, mixed in some glazing and spot putty with some rubbing alcohol, and then just used an old paintbrush to paint that on. A syrup consistency is about what I go for when I do this. And then I just put on like 2 or 3 layers. If it's really bad on some of the prints, I'll put on multiple, but 2 or 3 works out for most things. You can see after I got that on everything, it had built up quite a bit of kind of brush marks, so I used 220 grit sandpaper to go ahead and sand everything down. Once I got all that cleaned off, I was left with something that was pretty smooth and pretty quick. I think it took a few hours maybe to get this fully done, but was using this Rust-Oleum spray paint. This is just what my store had, and these are the colors I used. I think the blue turned out really well. The red was maybe a little bit too dark, and this black I've just had forever. I finally got through this can with this project. For the webbing, I painted the whole thing black, and then I just used my Cricut to go ahead and cut out like a stencil for all the webbing and stuff, so I wouldn't have to go back and paint that by hand or anything crazy like that. And so with this stencil, I could just cut it out on the Cricut real fast, and then I could peel it off here and then just stick it onto the model. And that turned out pretty clean, way cleaner than anything I could actually do by hand. And you can see I did it for the head as well. I had to do a bunch of Googling to try to find the actual design of his webbing and everything. I don't know too much about Lego, so I just grabbed something that looked cool. After I get that stencil on, I like to go back with whatever base coat I'm using. So in this case, black. I use flat black here though, because I ran out of the gloss. But I like to hit it with another coat of that, and that lets this black kind of seep underneath that sticker, and that'll really lock it in. So hopefully you won't have as much paint bleed. I forgot about his ab design too, and his muscle design, so I went ahead and cut that out as well and stuck it on there. And to get this to really show up, what I end up doing is painting the whole body red, of course. And then after that had dried, I peeled off this muscle sticker and then did one really light coat of the red. For the head, I went ahead and painted it with this gloss white, just so I wouldn't have to go back and paint the lenses or anything. And that way I can just mask off where those lenses are supposed to be and have that already painted and ready to go. So after I get all that done, I hit it with a few coats of red. I don't know where the video went for that, but after that red was on there, I could mask off the boots. And you can see that stencil really worked out for the muscles with that one light coat of red. You can really see the definition there. Here's the head after I painted it white too. You can see I just went ahead and masked off all the lenses, and hopefully nothing bleeds underneath that so they can actually stay that glossy white. Here's the rest of the red parts masked off. I also almost forgot about his back logo, but luckily I thought about it before I started painting. But this masking took forever, but it was really important to get it as close to the model as possible. Here's the other pieces that I had to print. These ones, like I said, I printed everything with 10% infill, and that didn't work out for some of these moving parts, so I had to go back and print them with 20%. But all of this stuff just gets hit with this blue at that point. And here I went ahead and peeled off all the stickers on the head just to make sure everything worked all right. The masking tape did peel a bunch of that black paint off. I think if I had more time, I could let that black paint set for a couple of days and it would hold a lot better, but like I said, I was trying to get this all done within a week, so I just went through with some acrylic paints and touched up all the black web lines. For the body, the masking tape held on a little bit better here. I don't know what had caused the head to kind of mess up as bad. There was definitely still some touch-ups I had to do on the body, but the head for some reason got the worst of it. Here I am peeling everything away and seeing if any damage was done. The paints, I had to paint them so quickly in like so many different colors within a day or two that you can see that even like the slightest kind of scratch helps like peels off that paint. So I had to be really careful here to make sure I didn't scratch anything up. But I just touch up wherever it's messed up with some acrylic paints that match the color pretty well, and it's not really noticeable at all on the final model. But here's all the web lines peeled off, and you can see it did better than the head, but still not great. So I just had to go through with some whatever acrylic paints I had that matched the colors pretty well and touch those up. Also, the muscle kind of definition didn't work out as much for the blue. So what I ended up doing is just finding a paint that was a little bit darker than the base blue and painting that. I hand painted all the muscle definition on the blue parts. A little bit confusing, but it's mostly just masking off and then painting and then touching up that paint. So it was just a really tedious process that took a couple of days to get done. But here's everything finally completely done. I think this is after a coat of clear coat too, so I just wanted to make sure nothing would get scratched up when I put it all together. This crotch piece actually fit really well to the body, and I didn't really show most of it just because I didn't really show all of it because it's just blue, so I didn't have to do too much work on it. I did have to make changes to the model though, because this model is made to fit together perfectly, and there's no way that would actually happen. So I had to lower the whole where the legs plug in just a little bit. I think I lowered where the legs plug in by like 2 millimeters, so that way the legs actually have room to move. And you can see they plug in really easily, and they can actually like kick up and down like a normal Lego minifig would. For the arms, I had to change this up too. I don't know how the original model was supposed to actually plug together, so I ended up separating the plug from the actual arm. That way I could slide the plug into the body and then just glue the arm to it. I don't know what a better way for this would be. The arms were still really loose once I got them all put together. I don't know how this was supposed to actually fit together at this scale, but you can see that plug worked out perfectly sliding into that pole I put into the arm. But what I do is slide the plug up into the body, and then once I can push that through the armhole, I just kind of hold it into place. It actually holds pretty well right here on its own. I take a good amount of super glue and apply it all over that plug. I didn't want this arm ever breaking off, so I just made sure to put super glue, a ton of super glue in there to hold it all together. So once I got all that glue on there, I could actually slide the rod into that plug and let that set for a while. They are still, like I said, just a little bit loose. These legs were also kind of loose. The pole was a little bit too small, so the legs were still a little bit loose. So what I did is I printed off these cap pieces, and then I just glued those over that peg that goes through there. So that kind of locks it into place, so I don't have to worry about the legs falling off. I don't think they would have fallen off or anything anyways, but this is just kind of an extra safety measure to make sure his leg doesn't just pop off or anything. The hands were a little bit loose in the hole as well. So what I end up doing is just putting some masking tape on them and then going back and wrapping some duct tape around that just to give it a little bit more thickness and make it a little bit more, add a little bit more tension to the wrist. Or I tried like 2 layers of duct tape, like multiple layers of masking tape, but 1 layer of masking tape with 1 layer of duct tape with maybe just like 1 extra little piece of duct tape worked out to stick the hands on there. I had to mess with this forever just to get the tension right so the hands could actually rotate but also not just fall out immediately. At this point, disaster kind of struck, and when I was clear coating the head, it started to orange peel really bad. If you've never had experienced orange peel, it gives this weird texture all over, and also that paint is just very fragile at this point. You can see all the places where the paint's already chipping off, and this is just from me handling it for just a second. So at this point, I was at the morning of this thing needing to be delivered, so I printed off a head really quickly on my resin printer, and that way I didn't have to do as much sanding, and it was way faster to do it this way. But I just could paint that head red, and then I just used the Cricut to cut out the webs and the eyes and everything. And I'm just gonna stick them onto the model and hope that they don't peel off or anything in the future. You can see I cut out the eyes with white and cut out the webbing with the black, and this actually looked a lot cleaner. It just is not as durable as I would like it to be, which is the reason I used the spray paint to begin with. But you can see it does look really clean, so I do like how this turned out, and I think this would be a good option if I could just clear coat it one time to make it stick on there and be a little bit more durable. But it did turn out really well, so I was pretty excited about not ruining this model the day of. Here he is in the car with me on the way to be delivered, and here he is with my friend's Lego collection he currently has. These are all his Spider-Man minifigs, and I stuck this guy on top just to see how crazy it is, how much bigger he is than the regular minifigs. I didn't get too much footage of this. Like I said, I finished this model the day of it being delivered. Literally, I think after I shot this video, I had to leave just then. So this is all of his articulation, and this was a fun project to do. Definitely kind of stressful doing it that quick, but I think I could see myself doing some more of these in the future just because they're so fun to look at and mess with. But here he is next to normal Marvel Legends, and that's about all I have. I don't really have any other Legos, so let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next custom. Bye.